Hi guys, welcome to another Impact and Influence series. We've been a little bit slack with these of late, but I'm so excited to be sharing our interview today with Mr. Ben Hennessy. Hi Ben, how are you?
Hey Carl, good. How are you?
I'm very well. You're on the side of the road somewhere. Whereabouts in New South Wales are you?
Halfway between Port and Taree at the moment. Just over here visiting my youngest daughter for her 9th birthday, which is tomorrow.
Oh, that's special. And reception okay?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It might drop in and out a little bit.
That's okay. We'll see how we go. Guys, I've been dying to do this interview for a while now, but like good selling principles, Ben's been very, very busy. So the fact that we've actually pinned him down, even if it's in a car on the side of the road, is exciting. Ben and I go way back. We are from the same part of New South Wales. So Ben, do you want to share with everybody whereabouts your offices are?
Yep. So Gunnedah is hometown for me. Born and bred there, and that's where I started my business 9 years ago. And then just over 12 months ago, we opened another office in nearby Narrabri.
And what are we looking at now? 17, 18, 19 years in the industry?
Yeah, about 18 years in the industry. And yeah, like I said, 9 years ago in February, we rolled the doors back for the first time in Gunnedah, and it's been a hell of a ride ever since.
And we've got 16 in the team. I always like to compare apples and apples. Ben's a very high performing sales agent in his own right. So last year, I think Ben, 76 transactions on your own.
Yep.
Very much a growing team of sales agents and nurturing around that. Very established property management business. So we've got PM in both Gunnedah and Narrabri. I think last calculation, Ben, we were like 122 million in property under asset value, which for regional towns is enormous. Ben, question I like to start a lot of these interviews with is you've had a hugely successful career, and I guess working backwards, is there anything that you would do differently? Straight up.
Yes, lots. Yeah, there's lots I'd do differently. I mean, we're all wise in hindsight, but if I was to sum it up, it'd probably be in a saying, rush in slowly. I mean, that's hard. It's a double-edged sword because as salespeople, we do like to, react and live with that sense of urgency. But as Richard Branson says, every problem that I've experienced started out as a good idea, and I'm certainly no stranger to that either.
Well, I think, guys, if you haven't met Ben before, it's, opportunity is something he always looks for. And it is hard, right, Ben? You sort of, you sit back and then do you miss opportunity, or do you go really fast and then cost yourself opportunity on the other side of things? So it sounds like there might be a second interview there with I'd change lots. We might just have that as a whole series around impact and influence, which is probably great learning for our listeners. But I think, Ben, out there, why did you choose to have your own business as opposed to just being a sales agent?
Oh, look, probably from a very young age, I've always wanted to own my own business. And, while I've worked under some good principles along the way, and some forgettable ones as well, it's always a difficult choice to go and hang up your shingle for yourself. And we started from scratch. We didn't buy another business. We literally opened the doors day one, no clients, no property management. One salesperson or one staff member who resigned after 2 weeks. So it's always that leap of faith that you take. But I felt like it was within me to do it. There was that drive to want to carve out my own path in the business world. And while there's lots that I'd change, I certainly wouldn't change the actual decision of going into business for myself. And very grateful for all the many people that have helped along the way and that have been a part of our journey and that are still a part of our journey. So, no one succeeds alone, as anyone in business knows. So, I'm very grateful to have a great team that works with us today.
And Ben, I think, business ownership is not for everybody. And for a selling principal, very successful, you're a great 360 leader. And I've seen that personally. Not just saying that because we're mates, but I've seen that in the work that I do with your business, the retreat that we had in December with your team, which was pretty emotional for everybody, I think, when you've got team members that are actually crying about all working together and how proud they are, and the gratitude that comes with that. But how do you juggle everything?
With difficulty, and I don't always get it right. There's times when you drop the ball. There's times when it doesn't matter how many hours there are in the day, you just can't get to all the jobs. But good control of your diary, good support people to help. Trying to live by the 3 Ds, do it, delegate it, or dump it. So don't shuffle paper. If you've got a job to do, get that done. If you need to be the person to do it, if you don't, put it to the right person and move on. So, so it's, and look, I'd probably say exercise as well. Like, without exercise to help stress relief, going for a run and, going for a workout, that really helps, mentally reset me. So I try to get that in most days.
So that 360 holistic approach is incredibly important. And for anyone listening, Ben's offices from, say, Gunnedah to Narrabri, how many clicks is that, Ben?
About 100 Ks.
About 100 Ks. So how important has technology and efficiencies been for you, particularly in the last 12 months, not only with COVID, but just, juggling that amount of listings and running 2 offices and doing what you do with your family as well? How important has that been?
Oh, look, immensely. Like 3 years ago, I contemplated moving into the Narrabri market. I was offered to buy the business that ultimately I did end up buying. But back then, it's like the tyranny of distance seemed too difficult to navigate. And then once COVID hit, and I was, even within Gunnedah, I was managing my team, remotely over Zoom chats while we're all working from home. I guess it dawned on me, as it did many employers, how not how easy, but how effective it still was to manage your team using technology in that way without having to be physically present day in, day out. So then when the opportunity came up to buy the rent roll and expand into Narrabri, it became a lot easier to think about the logistics of how that would work. And believe in them, and again, that's been something that's been thrust upon a lot of employers, is to, for those of us who are slow to adapt and slow to accept that working from home, while not always possible, and while not always 100% effective, it certainly can work.
And Ben, you had a cracking call session the other day, and I love how close you and the team work together. And guys, Ben's got an ethos in his organisation that we're all a part of the team. Doesn't matter if you're sales or property management, which has been great in stopping that siloing. But do you want to share with everybody around the call session and the outcomes from the other day?
Yeah, absolutely. So at our end of year session with you at Dungowan Station, which was beautiful, and it was really emotionally charged. It was quite humbling.
Very much so.
But the team set some big goals, big growth goals, particularly in the property management space. So we had our PM meeting about 3 weeks ago, and we're just looking at where our numbers are up to year to date, and they just weren't where the team had set their own goals that they wanted to achieve. Like, there's a big reward at the end of it too if they can hit it. So it's like, well, we need to all down tools for one day and do Operation Wipeout. So many people would have heard about it or done something similar, but basically it's where the entire team prospects for the day. Doesn't matter whether you're a receptionist or you're admin support, sales coordinator, we all prospected mainly for the goal of achieving management. We picked up some listings along the way too, which was a bonus. But so, we set our goals and we said, all right, well, what's a modest goal to try to achieve, given we're all prospecting for the day? And they said, 10 new management. It's like, yeah, absolutely, that'd be awesome. I said, what's our stretch goal? They said, 15. It's like, cool. So I said, all right, well, we got to ring the bell whenever anyone gets the management. So we got the little reception bell out and relocated in the middle of the office. and then off we went. And we did a little bit of scripts and role playing, but ultimately I just said, look, don't get too caught up in that. You just want to pick up the phone and have a conversation with people, and ultimately ask a question about whether they've got any management. But we're not trained monkeys. Let's not get too scripted with it all. So look, within 20 minutes, the bell rang and someone had picked up their first management, and by the end of the day, we'd actually picked up 16 new managements. So it even exceeded the stretch goal. So it was really exciting. There was really good energy. And therefore, a lot of people are out of their comfort zone too. Like our inspection manager, she's like, she said, this is not me, but she did it. So from that, we've said, we don't want to leave this momentum. This was such a good idea. And what happens with most good ideas, it works so well, you never do it again. So I said, let's not fall into that trap. So once a month, it won't be for a whole day, but once a month, we're scheduled to do another mini operation wipeout. And if we can keep that going, then we'll well and truly hit our end of year goals.
Yeah, I hate to point out the obvious, Hennessy, but for those people listening, at Ben's Getaway at the end of the year, we set some team goals around net management growth, ratings and reviews on Google, and third one was around some sales goals. And the team actually got Ben to go out of the room, and then they came back in and we presented him with what the team thought that they could achieve. And look, in a nutshell, he's either going to be up for New Zealand, Hamilton Island, or the Gold Coast for a holiday. I would tell you, Ben, you're pretty happy with if they do hit some of those premium goals to reward for that. But it was actually interesting, wasn't it, watching the team come together and do that goal setting and then presenting back to you? What were your thoughts on that?
I was amazed. And the goals they set for themselves were probably much bigger than what I would have set, because as a boss, you don't want to feel like you're setting the impossible goals for your team.
Yeah.
So I probably would have watered them down a bit, but and maybe the rewards too. Well, not really. Like I'm happy to to reward the team with those sort of mind blowing adventures, because I want to do it as well. So it's it was a really interesting thing, and it showed actually how invested they are as a team. And again, that was just quite a humbling experience.
And look, I think too, at the end of the year, when we literally say to you, here's the finished product, and you've bought a rep roll for Nick's, it'll be a good investment. But it was I think something that was interesting too, and we'll just touch on this, but I think we might do another interview with your permission, Ben, is the values that also the team created at the retreat, and getting them to lead the charge on that and present that. Do you want to sort of talk to everybody about what we did with that and the impact?
Yeah, that was beautiful, because we'd sat down as a team maybe 3 years ago, or as a different team back then, and written out what some of our values are as a team, but they needed a complete reworking, which is what we did under your excellent guidance. Thanks, Kyles. And out of it, we boiled it all down to 4 values, which made a fairly handy acronym, FIT with 2 T's, standing for faith, integrity, teamwork, and trust. And while there's a little bit of overlap there, everyone understands what that meaning is. And the first word's quite beautiful, like faith in each other, faith in us as a company, faith in me as a leader, and just sort of believing in what we're doing and what we're striving to achieve. So since then, we've actually been able to use those goals or those values, just if anyone's behaviour sort of slips below the the standards where we want to be, and also in terms of guiding even things like Operation Wipeout, like we all do it together as a team, because that's what we stand for. They're our values.
Yeah, that DNA or guiding principles is incredibly important. But, kudos to you, kudos to the team. It's a very close-knit team, even though, 100 clicks apart. I'm incredibly proud as a friend and an industry colleague to see what you and the team have achieved. So, Ben, if anyone would like to find you, all this migration data with people relocating and looking at regional, or anyone looking at investments up in your area, how do we find you?
Well, if you want to physically find us in Gunnedah, we're at the corner at the only set of traffic lights in town, so you can't miss us. Otherwise, over in Narrabri, Maitland Street. But look, reach out to us. My mobile's the best way to get hold of me, 0408 111 678, or ben at hennessyrealestate.com.au is my direct email. So happy to field any questions. And yeah, look, it's been a wonderful ride the last 9 years. Excited about what the year ahead holds in store, and probably like much of us, just hanging on to our hats during this crazy market.
All right, well, we're going to hold you accountable. We want to know how many more managements you got next time we speak, what's changed in your market. And Ben, look, sincerely, thanks so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and hopefully everyone gets a lot out of today. We've covered heaps.
Pleasure, Carl. Anytime.
See you, Ben. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.